What is up, everybody? This is Coach Chad, the CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy, here with another episode of the Fit CEO podcast. And today we got a special one. What we got for you is I hosted a training last week with a large group of our clients and some individuals that are not our clients as well. And I did a training specific to the recession. So what I talk about in this video is the recession is not exclusive to just you. All right, everybody in the fitness space and everybody in the online space is feeling it. And we have found some strategic things that I feel like have really helped us, continue to acquire clients and continue to grow as a business during this time. And that's what I dive deep into in this 1 hour long training. I know this is a little bit longer of a podcast, and I know my style is to do, short and quick, but I feel like this is such an important topic and it requires a bit of depth. Excuse me, I couldn't say the word. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace out. All right, let's do it. Welcome into the recession call. I will try to make this as optimistic as possible. Obviously, anytime you talk about a recession, it's less than desirable. But this call, first of all, if you're here, that tells me that you're serious about your business and you're looking to thrive during this economic downturn. But I put a ton of effort into this. And the reason I wanted to hold off and have this conversation in November and not in July when I think the recession actually started is in NLCA internally. We tested a bunch of different stuff, and we have a lot of things that I feel very confident have helped us continue to perform during this time. And that's what I want to share with you guys. So first, I just want to start off by saying that the recession is not exclusive to just you. So if you're experiencing having a hard time booking calls or having a hard time closing deals, you are not alone. In July, and I just say this to make you guys feel comfortable, in July, we had our second worst month in company history. We followed that up in August with our fourth best month in company history. We followed that up in September with our worst month in company history. And then we had a really good month in October, and we're having a good month in November. So this economic downturn, like I said, is not exclusive to you. There are many other people experiencing it. I have a lot of friends in the space, and this is a topic of conversation amongst them as well. So all the big fitness businesses that you guys look up to, they are experiencing this as well. And my goal of this call is to share you all the things that we've learned and that have helped us along the way. So let's do it. All right, a little bit of preview on what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the opportunity at hand. Yes, there is an opportunity during a recession, and that will be the first thing that we discuss. From there, we'll dive into the mindset that we need to adopt during this hard time. Then number 3, we'll dive into the actual overall business strategy. What are the things you should be focused on that actually will continue to move the business forward? Number 4, we'll talk specifically about the sales strategy. So what should you be doing in your sales process to continue to close deals? And then number 5, we'll talk about leadership. And lastly, we'll talk about client delivery as well. If you guys have any questions as well, just make sure that you hold on to those until the end. Fingers crossed I can get it done within the hour. All right. Number 1, understanding the opportunity. Like I said, despite the economic downturn, there is definitely an opportunity at play here. So economic contractions equal economic corrections. And here's what that means. All right. So an economic contraction or correction is a necessary part of an economic cycle. And essentially what a correction does is it cleans house of any companies that are not suited to survive. And when I wrote this down, the first thing that came to mind was Darwinism. And the best way to view this is an economic contraction is Darwinism for business. So like Darwinism, those that survive experience more prosperity on the other side. So the opportunity that you guys have at hand here is if you're a business that's extremely disciplined during this time and you do the things that we talk about in this call, on the other end of this, there will be a lot of other businesses that are not as disciplined and are not suited to survive that will unfortunately go under. And that's the sad truth. But if you are a business that deploys these action items and is very disciplined, you could be the one that's on the other side of this, and you really reap the reward and get the opportunity. And what the opportunity is is clients aren't going away. Maybe some businesses do, the ones that aren't as disciplined or the ones that don't have this knowledge that we're going to talk about today. Those ones will go away, but clients won't go away. So if you do these action items today and you're disciplined throughout the process, on the other side of this, you could really scoop up a lot of market share. So during any economic downturn, that's the opportunity. Some businesses, your competitors will go out. If you're disciplined, you have the right strategy, you'll survive. You'll scoop up a large end of the market share on the back end of this, which means your business grows. All right. Adopting the right mindset. So if you're an NLCA staff member, which I know some of you guys are on this call, we've talked about this ad nauseum. We've had conversations about the recession internally a lot. And more specifically, what we've talked about is adopting the right mindset during this time, because we can all have the right strategy. And we're going to talk about the right strategy today. But if you are not sharp between the ears during this time specifically, it's going to be very hard for you to deploy that strategy, roll with the punches, and continue to prosper during a very hard time. So let's go over the exact same things, the exact same message that we are talking about internally in NLCA right now. So this is exactly what I'm telling my staff members. I didn't change a single thing. So there really are three character traits and three mindsets that we've adopted internally: optimism, discipline, and going the extra mile. Let's break all those down. So starting with optimism, what we've been talking about internally is not forgetting the reason why NLCA was created in the first place. So what you guys should be thinking about is the exact reason why you created your individual businesses in the first place, right? Always coming back to the why. The same thing you tell your fitness clients when they're having a hard time reaching their fitness goals is, why did you start this in the first place? That should be in the forefront of your mind every single day. If you need to write that on a piece of paper and put it on your desk, do it. If you need to put it on your screensaver on your phone or on your computer, do it. If you need to have a Post-it note up somewhere where you can see it literally every single day, maybe the bathroom mirror, do it. But now more than ever, you're going to have to remind yourself why you got into business literally every single day. Tactically, what we've been doing internally, so what our team is doing internally right now, is we are sharing client wins on a daily. The coaching department does a phenomenal job of that. I know a lot of y'all's wins on the call because we literally share them every single day. If you don't have a team, then I'm actually going to steal this from Sean McDevitt. You should have what's called, I think he calls it a smile file, where you have a bunch of different client wins saved, screenshots saved, videos saved, and a file on your phone that you can go back to and you can look at every single day. And you can, once again, remind yourself why you're doing this. So tactically speaking, reminding yourself of your why. Yes, you should have something in your ecosystem that will remind you of that, but create yourself a little smile file of all your client wins, client testimonial videos, whatever it may be, that you could refer to when you're feeling down and out and you're feeling like, man, I'm just not sure if I'm going to survive this thing, or if I want to survive this thing. Maybe I'll go back to in-person. Maybe I'll just get a job. Anytime those thoughts creep up, boom, open the smile file and remind yourself why you did this. All right, wrapping up the optimism point. You got to remain optimistic in a very hard time. The last point that I'll make on this one is remind yourself of the opportunity that you have at hand. And that opportunity is, some individuals will not adopt an optimistic mindset and they'll get down and out. And at the first sight of adversity, they're going to pull out on their business. And that's just another group of clients that you can scoop up on the other end of this. All right. So at the end of the day, you've got to remind yourself, what's the opportunity at hand? Why am I doing this? Optimism complete. All right, let's go to discipline. So this one is extremely, extremely important. This one's less fluff and more actual action items. All right. So the most disciplined person and the most disciplined businesses will win during this recession. And more specifically, what they're going to do really well is they're going to do the basics really well. What you should eliminate right now is trying to come up with all these different fancy ideas. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. If you're a visionary like me, and what a visionary means is they get excited about all their new fancy ideas. It's, typical ADHD brain. And that's why we're all entrepreneurs. Got to try to eliminate that, and got to try to remember what are the basics that are actually going to move the business forward. Because the businesses that are most disciplined and the businesses that focus on the basics really well are going to be the ones that survive and thrive. What are the basics? Let's go over those. All right. And this is going to seem very basic, but that's the point. All right. Number one is lead generation. All right. So we have in the course, if you're in certified coach, we have 7 different ways to generate leads. If you're in master coach, we have an additional 5 different ways to generate leads. I'm creating those modules right now. I know they're not done yet, but they're in the works. All right. That is what you should be focused on. Predominantly as a foundational piece, it should be DM outreach, but all the 6 other ways in certified coach and all the 4 other ways in master coach, those also would be deemed as basics that you should be doing on a daily consistent basis. Good news is everybody on this call has those modules at their disposal. All right. So for lead generation, that's a basic that you should put at a very, very high regard. All right. The next basic that you should put at a very high regard is your sales ability and sales skill. All right, we're going to talk about this later on when we get into the strategy piece. I'm keeping it very high level right now, but the next basic that you should focus on is sales. Follow up with your leads, practice objection handling 3 to 5 times a week, and watch your own call recordings. The 2 pieces that you're probably not doing right now, maybe you're not doing all 3. Maybe you're not following up with your leads. How often should you follow up with your leads? I would say every other day. The second piece here, practicing objection handling. You guys all have one-to-one coaches at your disposal. How I would be using those one-to-one calls is, hey, let's role play. Right? I'm really struggling with the, I need to think about it objection. I'm really struggling with the, it's too much money objection. Can we actually role play this together on our one-to-one call? If I was a student in NLCA, I'd be doing that with my one-to-one coach as much as I possibly can. And even outside of your one-to-one calls with your one-to-one coach, practice objection handling. I know I talk about this in the course, but when I was like really in it and learning sales, I was using my girlfriend at the time, Caitlin, my fiance now, as a person that I could practice role play with. And I would say, hey, babe, tell me it's too much money. And we would go back and forth and we would work through those objections. So 3 to 5 times a week, you should be working on your objection handling. With our sales team specifically, we train and we do role play objection handling 3 times a week. All right, the last piece, if you're not doing this one as well, this is definitely one that you should add into your bucket, your tool belt. Watch your own call recordings. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. Is it awkward? Yes. Are you going to learn a lot? Most definitely. Watching call recordings, once again, this is another thing that we have our sales reps do. They always can pinpoint, yep, lost the lead at this point. All right, this is what I need to do different. So when we're talking about basics, lead generation, sales, more specifically, practicing the skill of selling. Your ability to sell right now will really determine your ability to succeed during this time. All right, so those are the first 2 basics that you have to focus on. All right, the third basic you have to focus on, and once again, this is meant to be basic, is you got to focus on getting your clients results. We're going to talk about this at the end of the presentation, but usually the first thing that people think about cutting when it comes to a recession, or one of the first things, is their fitness subscriptions, their gym subscriptions. Your ability to create a community and to get your clients results will be the reason why people do not cut their payments. So please put this at a high regard. Please put this at a top priority. All right, the next basic that you need to focus on is marketing. All right, and to keep it very simple and brass tacks, you should be posting on social media 4 to 6 times a week. All right, how am I doing on time? Pretty terrible, so I'm going to speed up. Okay, sticking with discipline here. We have discipline with your business. We also have discipline with yourself. Okay, so you need to take care of yourself during this time. There's 3 things that I've been talking about with our team internally: taking care of your mind and what you listen to. If you're listening to the news right now, if you're listening to, scrolling through TikTok, you got a bunch of new shit on your feed, stop doing that. That's not serving you. You got to control what's going into your mind right now. Podcasts, YouTube, listen to motivational stuff, right? You can listen to my podcast or anybody else's podcast, dive into the course. You got to feed your mind with the first character trait that we talked about: optimistic and motivational and inspirational content. All right, so take care of what goes into your mind. Number 2, take care of your body. I know you guys are fitness coaches. I got to give you the reminder. I'm doing it myself. Take care of your body. All right, work out. For me, I'm trying to work out at least 4 times a week, right? Watch what you're eating. I still track my macros. Despite how busy I am, I'm still tracking my macros every single day. And then the last one, get sleep. And what I've been talking about with my team specifically is, don't worry about the total number. Worry about having a consistent sleep routine. Go to bed at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every day. All right, that's the second character trait that you have to adopt during this time. The first one is optimism. The second one is discipline. All right, the last one is going to be going the extra mile. So this is a very powerful quote. This is a quote that I got from Grant Cardone. When COVID hit, it was the first economic downturn time in my professional career. And I purchased one of his mentorship programs. And the very first thing he said on the first mentorship call is, you guys are going to have to put in 2 times the effort to get the same result. And that was very, very powerful for me during COVID. And that's the quote that I had in my brain when I was going through that hard time during COVID. So I'm going to say that same quote to you guys. It's going to require 2 times the effort to get the same result. Okay. Now, what does that look like in practicality? Send the extra follow-up message, make the extra random follow-up call. That's something that we've been doing. Pick up the phone, dial it, call somebody, right? I'm sure there's somebody that I sold on this call that I probably picked up the phone and randomly just called you. And then eventually you became an NLCA client, right? So make the extra random follow-up call. Send the extra free resource, send the extra testimonial, send the extra check-in with your client, make the extra post on your marketing. All right. The last point that I'll make here, prospects will invest with those that they think care about their success. So care. And by caring, by going the extra mile, that shows that you care. All right. Those are the character traits. And this is the exact same speech that I've been giving our team internally. And I know Kayla's on the call. I know Jen's on the call. They're probably like, Chad, I've heard you say this so many freaking times. All right, now we're going to get into the fun part. We're going to get into the business strategy, but let me take a sip of water really quick. Okay. So during this time, there are 3 reactions from business owners. This is really important, and then we'll get more into like specific strategies here in a second. It's coming. I know that's why you guys are here, but all this stuff is really important for your mindset. All right, so there are 3 reactions from business owners during this time. All right, reaction number 1 is to retract your efforts. There's a recession, might as well throw in the towel. Nothing's going to work. I give up. These people will market less, lead gen less, spend less on ads. They'll stop hiring, and overall, they're going to stop expanding. And what they're going to wait for, what you may hear them say, is they'll just wait for this to blow over. Those businesses, they will go out. All right, then you got reaction number 2. All right, so reaction number 1 is retracting, right? Reaction number 2 is the do nothings, right? They're going to put in the same effort as they were before. They're going to keep everything exactly the same amount of lead gen, the same amount of marketing, the same amount of hiring, the same amount of expanding. Nothing changes. They just keep it constant. All right, so that's reaction number 2. Reaction number 3, and the reaction that I want all of you guys to take, is to continue to expand. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write that down right now. Continue to expand. All right. So what that means is you're going to market more. If you're running ads, you're going to spend more on ads. If you're hiring, you're going to hire more. If you're lead genning, you're going to lead gen more. If you're working on your skill of acquisition, you're going to work on your skill of acquisition even more. You're going to read more. You're going to read more books. You're going to listen to more podcasts. You're going to do more courses. You're going to work on coaching more. You're going to continue to expand within reason throughout the economic hard time. And these are the companies that are going to gather market share on the other side of this. These are the companies that are going to take advantage of the opportunity at hand. All right. I've talked a lot about mindset. I know you guys are here for actual practical strategy. And then this is going to be that part. So like I said, and like I started the call, the recession is not exclusive to just you guys. It also affects NLCA as a company as well. These are the things that we have been deploying that have led to our success during this time. All right. So number 1, partnering with a finance company. And sorry, actually, one more thing before I dive in. After this call, I'm going to send all of you guys the resource. So this document, everyone's going to get this document. And I also have additional resources that I've made that aren't on this document that will be included in that as well. So you guys will get all of this at the end of today's presentation, probably tomorrow. Okay, so let's dive into the sales strategy. Number one, we partnered with the financing company. Now, we had this financing company well before this time, but this financing company has really, really helped us during this time as well. All right, I'm going to drop the link to apply in the chat, and I'm also going to drop a direct representative as well. It's not letting me do it. You guys will get it in the resource. Anyways, let's carry on. So the company that we work with is called Sweetpay. All right. The direct representative that I'm going to give you guys access to, her name is Alex, and she is our NLCA's direct representative. She told me I can give out her email. I would directly contact her and try to set up Sweetpay through her. All right. So what is Sweetpay? Let's give you a summary. All right. So specifically what Sweetpay does is it helps individuals with low income or poor credit scores get into your program specifically. All right. So, and I'm talking about like 90% approval rates. Like we've literally had individuals who have filed for bankruptcy in the past get approved for something. So the approval rates on this are ridiculous. It's like 90%. All right. So what they do is it's a soft credit check. So they'll do a soft credit check on your prospect. And it doesn't affect your credits. It doesn't affect your prospect's credit score if they are denied. And essentially, the best way to describe Sweetpay is they are going to be the middleman who helps your client find a bank that will either give them a loan or an installment plan. So what's the difference between those two? What's a loan versus an installment plan? All right. So the loan, if their credit score is a 700 or better, the loan is they're going to give them your pay in full rate up front. So let's say your pay in full rate is 2,000. All right. Once they get accepted for the loan, in 1 to 3 business days, $2,000 will be in your prospect's bank account. All right. They could pay you in full. You get 100% of your cash up front. We like that. They pay the bank back over 3 to 5 years. So their monthly payments are minimal. You get all of your cash. You get all of it up front. They pay the bank back over 3 to 5 years. Their monthly payments are very low. It's a best of both worlds. Your client's happy. You're happy. All right. So that's option number one. If they are denied the loan, then they're likely going to get accepted for what's called an installment plan. All right. So what an installment plan is, and you actually get to determine this. So when you guys are working with Alex on setting up Sweetpay, you can determine this. It is a predetermined length of term that they can take your payment plan amount. So let's say your payment plan amount is $3,000 and stretch it out over that predetermined length of term. And you have 100% control on what that predetermined length of term is. It could be 12 months. It could be 15 months. It could be 24 months. My recommendation is I would not go past 24 months. Ideally, if you could, I'd make it like 12 to 15 months. I do understand that some of you have 12-month packages. Maybe you stretch those out to 24 months. But I wouldn't go past that. All right. So finalizing the installment plan, it will take your payment plan amount, stretch it out over the predetermined length of term that you have, and only require your prospect to put 5% down to get started. So a lesser down payment, and it takes your payment plan amount and it stretches it out. All right. So this whole process right here, if you do anything today, I would do this and I would set this up. This is going to be a lifesaver for you guys. Okay. I have additional resources on those and I'm going to send those out, but I thought it would be really helpful for you guys to hear how this is pitched on an actual sales call. All right. So here's what we do. You're working through the objections. You feel like you've exhausted all of your options. Like you just cannot handle objections anymore. You're like, holy crap. I'm at my wit's end. I just have nothing left in the tank. All right. So you're going to present one last option to this individual. So what you're going to do is you're going to reconfirm their why from the beginning of the call, right? And you're going to reconfirm the why, and you're going to say, that's still the reason why you're here today, right? They say yes. All right. From there, you're going to reconfirm that they think your program can help them reach their why. So they say, yes, that's my why. And then you're going to follow that up and you're going to say something to the effect of, all right, cool. And you believe that XYZ program can help you achieve that why. Is that right? They say yes. All right. So they've reconfirmed their why. They've reconfirmed that they believe that your program can help you achieve their why. Okay, the last question that you're going to ask before you pitch it is you're going to say, all right, cool. So if you believe that this program can help you achieve insert why, are you willing to get resourceful to figure this out together? They say yes. That's one of my favorite questions in sales, and here's why. The reason most deals don't close is because it's closer versus prospect, not closer and prospect together trying to figure it out. But when you ask that question, sweet, so if you believe an XYZ program can help you achieve XYZY, are you willing to get resourceful so we can figure this out together? Now you guys are sitting on the same side of the table, you guys are teammates, and you guys are trying to figure this out together. That is when you can pitch Sweetpay. Okay, so here's how we pitch Sweetpay. I'll read it word for word. So great. NLCA is partnered with a third-party vendor called Sweetpay. Sweetpay helps those with low credit or not great financial situations get into NLCA, or whatever the name of your program is. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to apply, has a 90% acceptance rate, and on the off chance you are denied, it only does a soft credit check, so it won't affect your credit score anyways. Do you want to give it a try? The reason we frame it like this is we highlight all the benefits, only takes 3 to 5 minutes to apply, 90% acceptance rate, doesn't affect your credit score. And then our ending question here is, do you want to give it a try? They're always going to give it a try. But if you say, do you want to move forward? They may say no, because moving forward seems, a little bit more for sure. But if you say, hey, might as well give it a try, a lot of people will say yes to that question. So just a much more powerful question in this particular circumstance. All right, so that's how we pitch. Okay, so from there, once they say yes, we explain next steps. So we'll say, amazing, I really appreciate your willingness to try. I just dropped the link in the chat. It will ask you a few basic questions. When it gets to the part where it asks you about the loan, let me know. I have a resource that will go over more specifically like what the backend steps are, and that's what I'll send you guys after this call. I felt like it would take up too much time if I went over all that, but really what I wanted you guys to see is that it can offer a loan and installment plan and how to pitch it. All right, let me read this really quickly, because if I'm being honest, I forgot what I wrote here. Okay, yeah, we kind of already talked about this. If they get an installment plan, it stretches out their payment plan over that predetermined length of term. If they get a pay in full, you're getting 100% of your cash up front. In that resource that I send after this call, I have a very detailed video that, like I said, that will go over all the backend stuff on Sweetpay. Action item though, reach out to Alex, get Sweetpay set up, watch the resource after this call, understand how to use it, start implementing it in your business right away. If you do anything from this call, do that one thing. All right. Other things that have been very beneficial during this time is we have client ambassadors. If you're a client ambassador and you're on this call, we appreciate you. All right. So why create client ambassadors? So client ambassador programs are really amazing opportunity for your raving fan clients to help push individuals over the edge and join your program. So essentially what a client ambassador program is you're going to find like 3 to 5 of your top raving fan clients, the ones who absolutely adore what you do. They've gotten great results and they are willing to speak to other prospects about your program specifically. All right. So step 1, find, I would say 3 to 5 of your raving fan clients. All right, step 2, you're going to ask them if they want to be a client ambassador, and you're going to explain what they have to do, why it's important, and what they get in return. To make a long story short, what they do is when you have somebody that didn't close, at the end of that sales call, you'll ask them if they would like to speak with another client. If they say yes, you'll go to your client ambassador chat. You'll ask them to speak with a client ambassador. An ambassador will volunteer. You'll hook up the ambassador, the prospect, and you in a 3-way text chat. And then your ambassador kind of takes it over from there, gets a call scheduled with the prospect, and then it basically just answers any questions that the prospect may have. And then once they're done with that call, the ambassador goes back to you and says, hey, I had the conversation with so-and-so. Here's how it went. You reach back out to the prospect and you close the deal. But the reason this is so powerful is because 1, now your prospect is speaking to a client. It's not a sales situation, and they trust a client a lot more than they trust you, because the client really doesn't have anything to gain from this. If the person joins the program or doesn't join the program, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for the ambassador. Matters for you, doesn't matter for the ambassador. So it's that conversation's a little bit more trusting for the prospect. All right. Once again, I have a resource that you guys are going to get. For time's sake, I know we only have an hour. I have a resource that you guys are going to get that really dives into that a little bit deeper. But what you guys would have to do is you guys would find 3 to 5 clients that you would consider your raving fan clients. You would put them all in a WhatsApp group chat. At the end of any of your sales calls that you feel like are not moving forward, a last ditch effort is, hey, would you find value in speaking with one of our clients, to answer any questions or things of that nature? They say yes. You go into your client ambassador group chat. You basically pitch them and say, hey guys, I just got off the phone with XYZ prospect. Here's what they're struggling with. Is anybody interested in volunteering to speak to this individual? An ambassador raises their hand. You put the ambassador and the prospect in the 3-way chat. Your ambassador at that point connects with the prospect. They schedule a separate call, answer any questions. Ambassador comes back to you, informs you on how the call went, and then you reach back out to the prospect and try to close the deal. That's the ambassador program at a very high level. Like I said, I'll send more a specific detailed resource at the end of this. One last thing that I'll say actually about the ambassador program that I forgot to mention is your ambassadors will get compensated. This is not just purely a volunteer thing. I would, if for fitness offers, if you want to just do cash and make it simple, you can do $25 to $50 per client they help close, but the client would have to actually close. So you're not going to pay them for just taking the call. That prospect would have to end up actually closing for your ambassador to get compensated. That's one version of doing it. Another version of doing it is you can kind of view it like a reward system. So let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So this is NLCAs as an example, but we switched ours to a reward system. It just felt more fun than just doing cash. And also it gives your ambassador something to like work towards. But if you're, for an example, if your ambassador signs 5 clients, maybe they get a $100 gift card to a coffee chain of their choice, right? All the way up to if they sign 40 clients, maybe they get a 30-minute one-to-one with me. There were some other cool ones in here, like a facial or a massage or an aura ring. And, who knows, maybe if you work this all the way up to 100 clients, maybe they get a paid for vacation or something really cool like that. You guys could be as creative as you want with the ambassador rewards, but really the big takeaway here is you have 2 ways to compensate them. You can either just do pure cash, which is the simplest way to do it and to track it, or you can do a reward system, really up to you. Other additional perks that you can give your ambassadors, for our ambassadors, we do a monthly group support call with just me. So the ambassadors would pop on a group call with just me. I answer any questions for their business. So if you want to, give them additional perks like support calls or monthly resources, anything that's exclusive to them as an ambassador, that can also raise the playing field for your ambassadors as well. Okay. That's a high-level overview of the ambassador program. So this is kind of going in pecking order. I would say the number one most important thing that we've done is the finance company. The second thing that we consistently do is our ambassadors. Those 2 have been really, really, really helpful. All right, the third thing that we've absolutely dominated at is our follow-up process. We are very, very consistent with our follow-up process. And this is our follow-up process specific to individuals that we've had sales calls with, but they've told us no or not right now. All right, this is in the course. So if you are a certified coach, this is in the closing call module, and it's in the it's in the follow-up process video that I created. So I am going to keep this relatively high level, but I'll try to, with the amount of time I have, I'll try to go as specific as possible. All right. So what we do for our follow-up process is we categorize our follow-up process. So there are 2 categories of individual. We have what's called a hot list, and we have what's called a general list. So a hot list is for anybody that we think will close within 30 days. So if we had a sales call with them and we're like, man, should have closed that person on that call. Give me 30 days and I feel like I can close that person. A prospect like that gets placed on the hot list. General list is for anybody that we think will need more than 30 days to close. So 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And yes, we literally have followed up with people for a year before they've signed on. those types of individuals will go on your general list. All right, the reason that we section out our follow-ups like that is because we have two different approaches, because they are two different types of follow-ups. For a hot list individual, if you think they can close within 30 days, that needs a different strategy than somebody that you think is going to take 3, 6 to 12 months. All right, so let's go over what that looks like. So for hot list people specifically, message number one, what we do is it's a very low barrier to entry message. All right. So we'll follow up with them usually like 3 days after the call. We'll say, hey, first name, been thinking a lot about our call and just wanted to check in and see how things have been going since, a couple of days ago, or our call the other day, or whatever it may be. Right. So very low barrier to entry. Okay. They respond, and then we actually close out the conversation. All right. So what we say is, awesome. Love to hear that. Let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions about anything that we talked about, and we'll close out the conversation. The reason we do that is because most people, when they get followed up with, they're expecting to be pitched right away. If we add this subtle switch, if we're a little bit different is memorable, right? So now we're memorable. Memorable is good. So that's the first follow-up. All right. So the second follow-up for the hot list individuals, what we're going to do is we're going to send them a resource. All right. So now we're providing value. So one, we were memorable because we didn't pitch them. Now we're providing a resource, which is different once again, because it's not being pitched. All right. So what you're going to say is, hey, first name, me again. I found this resource, testimonial, piece of content, whatever it is, and immediately thought of you and wanted to send it your way. Check it out. Let me know what you think. All right. So then you send that text, include whatever the resource is. The resource should be associated with something that you guys have talked about on the original sales call, maybe specific to one of their challenges or something like that. Okay. The second message in the second follow-up is you're just going to respond accordingly to whatever they say. Right. So if at this point they, follow up, they're like, oh, the resource was awesome. You know what? I'm still struggling with blank, blank, blank. Respond accordingly. Try to get them back on the phone at that point. If they just say thank you, then, maybe just heart the message and move on. Okay. This is the third follow-up. So we had the first follow-up, which was just a subtle check-in. The second follow-up, which was sending a resource. Now we have the third follow-up. The third follow-up is when we're actually trying to get them back on the phone. All right. So what we say at this point is, hey, first name, exciting news. We always throw in emojis. And then we say, we've made some changes to the program. I'd love to share with you. I know you were saying that challenge was keeping you from being able to move forward, but I think I found a way to solve this. We've had a lot of students recently struggling with similar things, so we decided to make a change. Are you open to hearing about that? All right, so we're not directly telling them what the change is, but we're telling them that there is a change that could potentially help them. All right, so because we keep it open-ended and not specific, that's going to increase the amount of replies that you get. So that's message one and follow-up 3. All right, message 2 is sweet. So basically we have a lot more flexibility with time or financial. Usually the 2 objections that you get will either be, I don't have the time for this right now, or I don't have the money. So whatever objection you got on the original call, you would insert in this section here. So I'll repeat that. So sweet. So basically we have a lot more flexibility with time or financial side of things. Any time to hop on a quick call and I can review everything with you. Okay. So that's the 3 different follow-ups that you would send for a hot list category person, somebody that you think you can close within the 30 days. You also have a specific follow-up call for each of these categories as well. I believe I put this on here. I did. I will go over that in a couple of minutes. All right. The next thing I wanted to go over was the generalist. So if that's the approach for the hot list, now let's go over the different approach for the generalist. Remember, the generalist people, their willingness to buy is a lot less. They probably need a lot more time. All right. So the frequency for the generalist reach outs is going to be a lot different. So if this is, like every 3 days, the generalist reach outs is going to be like every 2 weeks. So the time in which you're reaching out is much different. Okay. So in summary, the process here, the big difference is you're providing a lot more value, a lot more resources. You're really trying to show them that you know what you're talking about and that they can trust you. So you're showing them a lot more resources, and it's a lot less about getting them back on the phone. All All right. So message one, hey, have you seen the new, insert name of training I made? I just tagged you in it. Did you get the notification? So if you're in a free Facebook group and you're making content, you could, and they're in there, you could tag them. If you don't have a free Facebook group, you could just literally say, hey, I made this training. I thought you should have it, and send it to them. Whatever they reply, you're just going to say, awesome, enjoy, right? So this is just out of the kindness of your heart. All right. So then the next follow-up that you do 2 weeks from there is you're going to say, hey, just checking back. How is goal coming along? So whatever their goal was. Also check out this resource training post testimonial, and then you'll link it below. All right. So message 4. So this is the second follow-up and second message. This is open for interpretation. So it really depends on how they reply to message 3. So if they say their goal is coming along great, oh, everything's awesome, man, I'm rocking and rolling, then, at that point, you're just going to congratulate them and that's it, right? But if they say, I'm really struggling, I still don't know how to figure this out, that's when you'll suggest to get back on a game planning call with you. So very subtle difference, but a game planning call doesn't really sound like a sales call, nor is it a sales call. It's a game planning call, right? So it's a lot softer. So you'll pitch them to get back on a game planning call. Okay. Then every 2 weeks, you're going to repeat messages 3 and 4. So, let's say, for example, they say their goals are great. They're doing awesome right now. 2 weeks from that original reach out, you'll reach back out and you'll repeat 3 and 4. So you'll ask them how their goals are going again. You'll send them another resource. And then message 4 is open for interpretation on how you proceed. And once again, if at any point they say they're struggling or they're still not sure how to solve XYZ, or their goal really isn't coming along well, you'll pitch them on a game planning call. All right, a couple other things with the follow-up with the general list. Usually it takes about 4 to 10 times. So like 4 to 10 cycles of this for them to commit to getting back on a call with you. So just setting expectations, like literally we will go through that 4 to 10 times before we can get somebody back on the phone. Another expectation that I'll set, I'm losing it. What was it? I lost it. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. Fuck, that sucks. It was a good point too. All right, we'll carry on. Like I said, it'll come back to me. All right. So step number 3, you guys know how to follow up with each of those lists, each of those categories. The next thing that you guys have to learn is the follow-up call for each of the two different procedures. All right. So for a hot list, and I'll try to be quick because there's a lot more that I want to cover. Hold on, let me make this bigger for you guys. All right, for hot list, what you guys are going to do is step 1, ring, they're on the phone. All right, you're going to reconnect with their why and their goal. All right, so you're going to repeat their goal and why back to them and ask them if this is still important. So you'll open the call, you'll talk about, whatever you talk about for, 1 to 2 minutes. You'll ask them if they're ready to dive in. You'll open it by saying like, all right, awesome. So on our last call, you told me XYZ was your goal. You told me XYZ was your why. I'm assuming that's still important to you, but I want to ask, is that still important for you? They say yes. Okay. Then you'll ask them, cool, why is that important for you to figure out? And the reason you want to do that is because you want them to speak. You want them to start talking about their why. You want them to start getting back into that emotional state of, why they wanted to do this in the first place. If you just verbalize it to them, it's not as powerful as them talking about it themselves. So you'll verbalize it to them and you'll get them to say yes, but then you'll have them expand on it by saying, why, tell me a little bit more, why is this important to you to figure out again? And you'll let them go on their little spiel. Usually they'll rant at that point, or hopefully. If they're a ranter, that's a good sign. All right, then you'll move on to step 2. So you'll ask them if they still feel that your company and your program can help them accomplish their goal. All right, so we just got them reconnected to their why. We just confirmed that they still feel confident in your program. All right, then in step 3, you're going to say, hey, I know blank was the reason that you didn't move forward. Once again, that's usually either time, like they don't have time, or finances. Are you open to getting resourceful with me today so that we can overcome that and help you reach your goal? I already told you guys why I like the resourcefulness question. Okay, so at this point, you're just going to present different options. So 2 things you could do. Excuse me. If it's finances and you haven't pitched them Sweetpay, and you haven't pitched them Sweetpay or PayPal credit, on the follow-up call, you can pitch them Sweetpay or PayPal credit. All right, if it's time, right? So if they said that time was the issue, at this point, you can try to give them maybe an additional month for free. Now, it's not ideal. However, if it's the difference between getting somebody in your program during this time and not, I'm willing to make that sacrifice, right? So if time was their big issue, hey, totally understand time's your big issue. Because of that, and because I really believe that you can have success here, I would love to give you an extra month on us. Does that sound fair? Is that a fair compromise? And I would probably pitch it something like that. Okay, moving along because time crunch. All right, generalist. So that's hot list follow-up call. This is generalist follow-up call. So generalist follow-up call, you're still going to reconnect with their why and goal as step one. From there, remember, you're pitching a game planning call here. So you actually want to give them some value. So in step two, you actually want to spend some time game planning and creating actionable advice, right? So like give them a little bit of a coaching session here. Make this feel like a legitimate game planning call. All right, at the end of that, you're going to go for a soft pitch. So you're going to ask them if they still feel confident that your company and program can help them accomplish their goal. If they say yes, you're going to repitch your program and address any concerns. All right, that's generalist. Okay, so if we do run out of time, we have 15 minutes, but if we do run out of time, the three things that I've already gone over with you are the three biggest things that we're doing right now: the financing company, the follow-up process that we just went over, and the client ambassadors. Those three are huge. The other things I'm going to go over are less impactful, but still important. All right, so the next one is professionalizing your sales process. So some things that we have done to professionalize the sales process, you guys see that I have a funky background right now. This one is Black Friday themed. That's why it looks so funky like this. Usually my background is this picture right here. All right, so one simple thing you could do to professionalize your sales process: one, if you're not taking Zoom calls, take damn Zoom calls. Like, come on, take the damn Zoom calls. And two, create your own background like this. Professionalizes the sales process. All right, second thing that we do to professionalize the sales process, we've ordered these. They're in transit right now, but branded polos or t-shirts. All right, two very simple little things. Why is this important? What we've noticed is we have a very diligent sales process. We share our screen. Everyone's been through it. We share our screen. We literally show you every single step of NLCA. And the reason we do that is because, one, it's a company tenet of ours, truth first, to show you guys everything. But two, I would consider our company internally very disciplined and detail oriented. And I feel and professional. And I feel as though that our sales process communicates that because we do these little things. And I really do believe that these little things matter when somebody's trying to make a big decision on spending thousands of dollars with you on if they want to join your program. And all of y'all's programs are thousands of dollars too. So take up the professionalism, do these two little things. Okay, that's number 4. What are we on now? All right, number 5, the pre-call warm-up process. Okay, so this becomes increasingly important during the recession as well. All right, so what is the pre-call warm-up process? The pre-call warm-up process is what happens in between the time they are booked for a call and the time that the call occurs. All right, so what we have noticed is prospects want as much information about the program as possible prior to getting on a call with you. Why? Because they're scared about their finances and they want to make sure they can afford it. Now, you're not going to directly tell them what the pricing is, but we are giving a ton of information about NLCA and specifically what we offer away before they even get on a sales call with us. And the reason that we've done that is because if they go through that material and still decide to show up, the likelihood of them closing is much greater because they have all the information already. They've kind of already made a decision in their mind that, yeah, this is something that I would be interested in. Okay, so what do we got? 10 minutes. All right. I'll try to give away as much as I can in 10 minutes. So in our pre-call homework process, I'll show you what this looks like. So this is our pre-call homework process. You guys will get this in the email that we send out. Things that we are doing to provide as much information to help them make a decision prior to getting on the sales call is we are providing this video here. So you guys have, hopefully we ask you to. Hopefully you've watched this video already. It's like a 9 to 12-minute video about specifically how we help online trainers go full time. And it's me talking to that effect. Now it's professionally done. I'm not expecting you guys to put that level of professionalism in it, but you could do it literally on Zoom. Like you could literally maybe create like a little presentation on Canva, share your screen, record it. It has the same effect. All right. Other things that we are doing. This video right here, I literally share my screen and go over the whole entire course. So I literally, it's a video that I say like, I'm going to show you the inside of NLCA today. Here's what support looks like. Here's what our course looks like. Here's everything you would get. I don't talk about the price, but we are very open and transparent on everything they would get. And that's what this video is here. All right. These 5 remaining videos address their biggest concerns. All right. So we title it as, here are 5 pieces of content to get you started. Number 1 is my story. I think that's important for your prospects to know, because maybe your prospects know a lot about you, maybe they don't, but if they listen to, a piece of content about how you got into this, your origin story, that's a positive. Okay. These remaining 4 videos address mindset challenges on reasons why people wouldn't buy: doubt, anxiety, fear, imposter syndrome, right? Those are the biggest things that we see from prospects on reasons why they don't move forward. So you guys would have to identify for yourself, what are the biggest reasons why my clients don't move forward on sales calls? And then make sure that you have pieces of content that address that they have to watch prior to getting on a sales call with you. All right. I know I have a lot written in this doc about the pre-call warm-up process. I'm just trying to pick the most valuable thing for a time's sake. Do the pre-call homework this way, include those things. You guys will get this resource after the call, but if you do anything for the pre-call warm-up process, it's making sure that you have this pre-call homework. When do you send that? We send it in 2 locations. One, after we book the call in the DMs, we'll send it to them. And then also when our closers reach out to confirm the call. Now, I know a lot of you don't have closers or DMers. I would still send it in the DMs. And when I go to confirm the call the night before, I would still send it in my confirmation. Annoying? Yes. Diligent? Absolutely. Okay. The 6th and final thing that we have done during this time that has been really beneficial is yours truly has gotten back into sales calls. I see a lot of familiar faces on this call. This is something that we have done that has definitely been very, very helpful. I know a lot of you are the CEOs and you're taking sales calls already, but if you are on here and you do have a team and you're not taking your own sales calls right now, I would highly recommend considering doing that. What would be more valuable for you guys, me finishing the doc or giving you guys 8 minutes of Q&A? And you guys can just go in the chat. Someone said,
probably, yeah, I said probably Q&A.
Okay. All right, let's do it then. Who wants to go first? I'm freaking like jacked up. I don't know how I talked for that long.
Bailey has her hand raised.
Yeah. You guys can just yell. I don't care.
What, I know how NLCA goes about it, but what would be an example of like a video you could create on the pre-call homework for a financial objection?
For financial objection.
Yeah.
So what we do is we basically, our candid response is we'll say something to the effect of like, hey, look, the call is really just an application. We're trying to see if this is mutually a good fit. Like you're a good fit for NLCA and we're a good fit for you. If we come to that point, I promise you, if you can get resourceful, that we do have multiple different options. Usually just saying that right off the bat eases their anxiety. And I know that's quick and that's simple, and that's probably not a piece of content, but I think if I were going to create a piece of content on that, I would ask 2 very powerful questions and then make the whole video about their why. The 2 powerful questions I would ask is, what happens if you do this? And then what happens if you don't do this? Meaning like, what does your life look like? So I'd probably create a piece of content that expands on those 2 questions. Is that helpful?
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, who's next? I do have a call at 7, so I got to be really sharp here.
Kelsey, do you have a question? Because you said Q&A.
Don't be scared, y'all.
Not necessarily. I just wanted to hear like other people's thoughts, but I'm definitely absolutely thinking of things right now.
Hell yeah.
For the follow-up part, would you give it to your DMer to just like, if you set it up for them and just have them do it, or would you have your VA do it, or a little bit of both?
For following up with calls, like sales calls?
Yeah, that like didn't close.
Oh man, I would, if you're the closer, I would do it. Whoever built the relationship on the call.
Okay.
Yeah. Annoying, yes. But like literally I'll spend my Saturdays and Sundays just sending hundreds of follow-ups. And this isn't normal. Like that's not a usual thing for me. Like usually I'm focused on growing the business, but right now I'm focused on that.
So if you send about 100 follow-ups, Chad, how many responses are you getting, just for context?
If it's somebody that I've had a call with, I'll have a higher likelihood of a reply, especially if it's a low barrier to entry question, like here's a resource, or, you know, how are you doing? If it's a let's get back on a call so that you can close, it's always gonna have a less percentage of turnover.
Okay.
But that's what go ahead. Sorry, questions are more important. Keep going.
Does setting up Sweetpay cost us anything or no?
I think it's a $350 setup fee one time. And then the way they get paid is they get paid on the interest from the clients. And you actually get to determine the interest. So we determined our interest would be 14%, which you actually get some interest. So you get paid off the interest as well, but so does Sweetpay. And then the one other way that they get paid is they have a processing fee. It's like $59. But the client pays the processing fee, not you.
And for the hey, getting them back on the ball or the call to get creative, like how creative are we getting?
Well, that variance is going to be higher, a lot higher right now. So with our reps, our sales reps, I'm allowing them to get more creative because cash flow is more important right now than, creating the perfect package and making sure your monthly payments are great. So I would say right now you could be a little bit more creative.
Whenever you're doing the Sweetpay, how do you determine the interest rate that you're going to go forward with?
They'll guide you through that. They'll give you a recommended amount, but I would make it, at least our thought process, the reason we landed on 14% is if I had a super high interest rate, no one would want to move forward. So I don't care about cool NLCAs gets 2% interest. I don't care about that. I want to help the client.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm going to follow up on that. And Chad, I mean, I know you just said like they'll help you, but we actually called in and are starting this process, and they like didn't really help us with that. They were just like, just let us know like whatever you want the interest rate, and we're like, I don't know.
Are you working with Alex?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Sabrina, I see your face on here. Can you help me out there? Were you a part of the conversation of coming up with the interest? No, crap. Must have been Paige. I do remember having a conversation with them where we came up with the number. Maybe I would prompt it. I would say like, hey, look, I'm having trouble here. What do most companies do?
Okay.
All right, I got time for, let's see if I can do two more. Who wants to go next?
I have a question. So did you guys change anything about like your application form? Like, did you add any questions? Did you take any away? Are you asking different things? Just wondering.
Sabrina, can you drop the application form in the chat? Ours is so simple, to be honest. I would say like a year and a half ago, we used to be asked very specific, like hardcore questions. When we switched, now 100% of our leads are from ads. Ours is like so basic. It's like, what are your goals? What are your challenges? Why is this important to you? It's actually more of like a coaching application than it is like a sales application. The main reason why we did that is because when we switched to ads being our predominant lead source, and we had a lot of financial questions or spouse questions, people canceled their calls right away. So we pulled that out, and it didn't affect call volume at all. Yeah, we actually, funny enough, we actually train our closers to not even look at the sales application anymore. We just say, show up to the call, everyone's closable. Who cares about the application? All right. One more if it's quick, but I do have a sales call that's probably waiting for me.
Oh, Jesus.
I have a question.
Yes, let's do it.
So you had said in the follow-up process, you say there's something new that I want to show you with my program. What do you, like, are you really doing something new? Or are you just reiterating something different? Like, I know I came in late, but
no, that's totally fine. If it's financial, you could repitch them Sweetpay or like a more favorable payment plan option.
okay.
If it's time, you can give them like an extra month free. Don't limit yourself to those two. You could be as creative as you want. Maybe it's an additional bonus, right? Like maybe their big concern was like they're not sure if they're going to get results, so you throw them in like an extra weekly check-in or something like that. All right, okay. I do got to run. You guys will get an email tomorrow with this recording and all the other additional resources. Just show of hands, was this beneficial? Was this good?
Amazing.
Cool. Awesome. I'll make sure I do this some more. All right, squad. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Bye. All right. Welcome into part 2 of the recession training. Like I said in part 1, I didn't think I would be able to get all the material in within the allotted hour of the call. So I decided to take the extra time, go the extra mile, and record the rest for you guys. So let's do the damn thing. We almost did it. We just had 2 more topics to talk about. All right. So the next topic that I want to talk about is leadership. All right. So now more than ever, you need to step up into a leadership role. When times are tough, your clients, your staff, and your followers will be looking for leadership, and you need to be the individual that provides it. All right. So you have 2 specific leadership opportunities here. And if you could step up as a leader for your clients and for your followers and for your staff, I promise you are going to build a business that you are very, very proud of. All right. Leadership opportunity number 1, leading your team. So throughout this whole entire training, I've talked a lot about how, or I've alluded to at least a lot about how we've had very open and honest conversations internally in NLCA. And that's my very first point to you. If you're going to lead your team through the recession, you actually have to talk about the recession. And what I've noticed with a lot of my friends who own businesses of similar sizes is they are refraining from talking about it with their team. I don't know if it's out of fear, if they're scared to do so, but I promise if you can have open and honest conversations about what's going on, 1, your team will trust you a lot more because you're actually, willing to be vulnerable and have those conversations. And 2, it's an amazing, amazing opportunity to rally the troops. Everybody can get together. Everybody can get creative. Everybody can use their creative juices to power through this thing and not only just survive the recession, but thrive in the recession as well. So if you do anything in terms of leadership with your team, have open and honest conversations about what's going on. You don't have to be as open and honest as me. I literally share the company numbers. I do think it's good for your team to know what's going on down to that degree. If you don't feel comfortable sharing company numbers, that's fine, but at least have the conversations about the recession. Okay. The very first conversation that I had with my team about the recession is the opportunity that we have at hand. If you remember in the beginning of the first training, we talked about the opportunity that we have at hand. This is the very first conversation that you should be having with your team as well. Hey, look, guys, we're going through hard times. There are going to be companies that choose to retract during this time. There are going to be companies that choose to do nothing during this time. The way that we are going to operate during this is we are going to continue to choose to expand. Here's how we are going to do this. And if we do this right, on the other end of this, those companies that choose to do nothing, those companies that choose to retract, those companies won't be companies anymore. And guess what? Those clients that worked with those companies are going to need a place to go. And if we are the company that choose to stay disciplined and expands throughout this time, on the other side of this, when the other companies fade away, we'll take up their market share. So explain the opportunity to your team. Okay. The third thing you need to do with your team is set the groundwork for the values your company will embody to succeed during this time. So the values that our company is embodying during this time is the discipline, optimism, and going the extra mile. All right. We do have our own company tenets as well: act first, mission first, truth first. And if you have company tenets for your team as well, now's the time to execute them. But right now we have additional tenets, additional values that we are following during these hard times. So that's step number 3. Develop the groundwork for the values that your company will embody to succeed during this time. And that should be a part of the conversation. Step number 4, lead by example. All right. Like I said earlier in the call, I'm taking sales calls right now. I'm taking like 8-9 sales calls right now. I'm working from literally 5 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night. And that's not an exaggeration. That is the actual truth. I'm working my fucking ass off right now. And yes, I'm doing that for, the business, but I'm also doing that to lead by example. I'm showing my team that when times are tough, I'm willing to get my hands dirty. I'm not the type of leader that says, figure it out, guys. Best of luck. Thank you for helping me. No, fuck no. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show the staff the type of discipline, the type of optimism, the type of extra mile that is necessary in order to be successful during these hard times. Your team will usually work, if you have a good team, you have good staff members, they'll usually work at 80% of the capacity that you're working at. Meaning if you were giving your 110% and that's what they're modeling, they'll usually go about 80% off that. It's your business, right? It's your baby. Can't expect them to give them 110% effort like you're giving. But if you're giving 110% effort and they're giving 80% of your 110% effort, to me, that's great. All right. So number 4, lead by example. Number 5, re-communicate the values multiple times a week. All right. Steps 1 through 4, you're not just doing that one time. You're not just doing that 2 times. We talk about this stuff on a weekly basis, almost on a daily basis. So re-communicate the values. Also, building off that, shout people out who are embodying the values, right? If you have people on your team that are displaying discipline, displaying optimism, displaying going the extra mile, you want to shout them out for that. You want to highlight those individuals so that the other people on the team who may not be doing those things are seeing that other people are getting highlighted for it. And then what do you think they do? They follow along, right? They do those things, right? So shouting people out, recognizing people for embodying these values that they need to operate to crush during this time is a very great strategy. All right, so that's leadership opportunity number 1. Lead your team. You're going to do that through having open and honest conversations about what's going on, communicating the opportunity at hand, and reminding them of that opportunity. Okay, setting the groundwork for the values your company will embody to succeed during this time, leading by example, and re-communicating the values multiple times a week. Okay, so that's leadership opportunity number 1. Leadership opportunity number 2, leading the industry. So when I say the industry, I'm talking about the fitness industry, right? So you could be a leader internally to your team, but opportunity number 2 is talking about being a leader externally to the public, to the potential audience that could become your client. All right, here's how you're going to do that. Number 1, have open and honest conversations about what's going on in your content. I don't know if you guys have been following around on my content, but I feel like I'm one of the only business coaches right now that's actually talking about the recession and who's actually talking about how to improve your business during the recession. Be that person in the fitness industry. Be the coach who's actually open and honest about what's going on and how to improve the quality of their life during that time. All right, number 2, shift your content to be more specific to the times. For example, how do you get get fit on a budget, right? How do you still go out to eat, right, but do it on a budget, right? How do you eat healthy on a budget, right? Everything should be talked about and tied back to the recession, right? So you can get creative. I'm gonna allow you to use your own creativity here, but think about how can I shape my content to be talking about what's going on right now and help people during this time. All right, those are the 2 leadership opportunities that you guys have at hand. The last thing that I want to talk about here is client delivery principles. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier in the training, usually when there are economic contractions, one of the first things to go is people's fitness memberships and things of that nature. What I'm going to talk about here in client delivery principles is to make sure that your program is so fucking valuable for them that they have no other choice but to stay with your program. If anything, their quality of life during this hard time would be worse if they left your program. That's the situation that you want to create. Let's talk about how to do that. Okay, so you want to provide more for the same price. You want to provide more value for the same price. We ain't changing prices right now. All right, so we're going to provide more value for the same price. All right, so like I talked about before, fitness tends to be the first thing they cut. So give them a reason to not cut this. All right, the biggest way to do this, the number one, if you do anything different in your client delivery, the biggest way to make sure that people stay in your program and do not leave and do not view this as an expense, but view this as something that is improving their life, is to lean heavy into your community, is to lean heavy into making your client base an actual true community that supports each other during this time. This is the biggest key to your success. All right, this is the biggest key to your success. Community calls, maybe you add more community calls. Community WhatsApp chats, maybe you really, really heavily focus on your community WhatsApp chats. If you have a community Facebook, you're really focusing on the community Facebook. You as a leader have to find a way, and if you have assistant coaches, your assistant coaches and your team need to find a way to cultivate community inside of your client list right now, right? So additional community calls, really focusing on the WhatsApp chats, really focusing on the Facebook groups, dive into community. If you do anything with your client delivery, it is this one thing, and I promise you, if you focus on that, your clients are not going to view this as an expense, but being a part of that community is going to be their emotional support system throughout this hard time. And they will have no choice but to want to stay in that, because if they didn't have that, their life would look dramatically different. Okay. So that's number one. If you do anything different in your fitness coaching program right now, really focus on community. Number 2, be willing to rework payment plans if you have to, or switch them to Sweetpay. So if you have people requesting to cancel or reaching out and saying, I'm not sure if I can do this because of finances, be willing to rework payment plans. All right. Be willing to restructure a payment plan, because you would rather have the cash flow than not have the cash flow. All right. The second thing that you could do is, if they really can't afford, even after you restructure a payment plan within your financing, if they really can't afford that, you can also use Sweetpay to refinance client contracts as well. Okay, you're only going to do this if they ask, though. All right, you're not going to reach out to your clients and say, hey, we're restructuring payment plans. No, you're not going to do that. All right, what you're going to do is, if somebody requests to cancel, you're going to be willing to internally refinance their payment plan. And if they can't refinance through you, then you'll go external to Sweetpay and you'll allow them to refinance through Sweetpay. All right, the simple answer is provide more. All right. Right now, like I said, it's about expansion. It's about doing more. It's about more check-ins. It's about more resources. It's about more support calls. Do more. Why do you think I did this call? Why do you think I did the extra call? More. All right. That's the client delivery principle. All right, y'all. That's the conclusion of this training. We're going to send you guys some additional resources. We're probably going to make this into a module as well, so you guys have this over the next 6-9 months. Hopefully it's less, but 6-9 months that we are in this recession. Hopefully you guys found this enjoyable, and leverage your coaches, right? Like, reach out, leverage our community, right? Reach out to our WhatsApp group chats, reach out in our Facebook group, right? Leverage the community for support during this time, because I promise you, we are really going to heavily focus on internally how we can continue to support you guys through this time. So hopefully you guys found this helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.